Hey everybody, welcome to our Tuesday night Diamonds to SC call, which is going to be backed up with our training event within half an hour. So tonight's breakdown is generally 30 minutes of a bit of personal development to grow our brain, stretch it out a little bit, learn some new things. And then the second half is covering all things Juice Plus, all things our opportunity, learning how to share the beautiful product that we have, breaking down any myths, any objections that people might get, because we all know that there's a lot of uneducated people out there talking about our product. So we want to know the right facts so that we can help people make informed decisions. And then, of course, we've got the business side of it as well. So there's just as many misconceptions out there about the business side. So we take the half hour at the end of this to really break it down and to help you guys understand what it is that we do, how to share that with other people, and how to build your own belief, I guess. So tonight I'm really excited because we're actually going to get a lot of stories being shared, and stories are my favorite thing because I know there's shitloads of science about what we do. The product is pretty much indestructible, but stories about the business model and the product are where it's at for me. I find that so life-changing. So I'm going to mix things up a little bit tonight because I was watching a YouTube clip earlier today. Does anybody else get obsessed with YouTube? I just fall into holes and something pops up and then something else. But I really enjoyed this one, and I thought it's a concept that I've already been introduced to, and I love it. It makes so much sense and it's so simple. And I thought I'm going to talk about that on training tonight. And then I thought, well, why talk about it when she already does such a great job? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the quick 10-minute clip of Mel Robbins talking about her 5-second rule. Now, has anybody ever come across this woman or the 5-second rule? And yeah, I know you have, Jojo. It's absolutely awesome. And I love Mel because she's so down to earth and she's so normal. I think a lot of us can relate to that. So what I want to do is break that down. We're going to watch that clip, and then I'm going to give you a few exercises around how we can utilize her tools and her skill building and her concept to kind of take it into what we do with our online businesses. Now, the 5-second rule, to kind of give you guys a little bit of a teaser, it's basically, who else knows in life what they need to do, but for some reason just doesn't do it? Yeah, am I the only one? No, there's lots of others. Cool. All right. So what she does is she breaks down why we do that and a little shortcut as to how we can rewire the circuit of our brain and actually just get shit done anyway. So I'm going to share my screen and get you guys just to watch her. Feel free to pop any comments up if you've got any questions or anything that's coming up for you, because what we'll eventually do is, sorry, my phone doesn't need to be there, is we'll eventually answer and talk about it, debrief it at the end. So everybody can see my screen there? Yeah, fantastic. All right, let's go for it.
I just remember feeling this massive sense of despair. And my entire life, and this is probably the long-winded answer to the first question that you gave me, changed with one 5-second decision. And now what my job is I teach people around the world the power and the science behind making 5-second decisions. And if you are paying attention, you will start to notice that there's a 5-second window for all of us. There's a 5-second window between the moment that your inner wisdom, your instincts, your second brain, your gut, whatever you want to call it, all of that unique power that's in you, that comes from your DNA, that comes from your life experiences, that comes from, everything that you've learned in your life, situational intelligence, all of that, when it speaks to you and tells you to move, to speak, to take some form of action, you only got 5 seconds to move before your mind will talk you out of it.
Right, and you call it the emergency brake, right?
Yeah, so what we do is we tend to pull the emergency brake because your mind is designed to do 3 things. Your mind, by design, does just 3 things. It basically regulates your body to keep you alive. It also, when you're sleeping, half of your mind shuts down and the other half catalogs everything that happened to you today so you can have memories. And the third thing that your mind does is it protects your ass. And the main way that it does that is it does that by magnifying risk. magnifies any situation or any conversation. And so, what happened for me is I realized as my life was circling the drain and we're facing bankruptcy and Chris is on the couch, this was not the situation that I wanted. I didn't want my life to end in divorce. I didn't want to be in financial ruin. I didn't want to be depressed. I didn't want to be anxious. And here's the truly screwed up thing. I knew what to do to fix it. See, this is the trap that most of us are in. Most of us know what we could do to change things for the better. And we spend our time and our energy talking ourselves out of doing those things. And the other thing that I convince people of, because this is so true, it's the littlest stuff. The little things make all the difference. And I could spend hours with you explaining the science of confidence and explaining the science of risk and explaining the science behind courage and explaining habit loops and how they get encoded in your brain. You don't need to know any of that because you're not applying for a PhD in psychology. I have done the work. And what I know is that true change comes down to 5-second windows. That moment that you know you need to do something that feels slightly uncomfortable, and your resignation, your excuses, your self-doubt start cranking up in your head, you got to move. You have to move. And so what happened for me is I invented a hack, a brain hack. It's the stupidest thing in the world. And it turns out that it's actually tremendously profound and powerful at a neurological level and at a scientific and a psychological level. When I invented it, I had no clue what I had invented. And it took me about 3 years from the moment that I invented it to actually realize that, holy shit, I think I've discovered the secret to changing anything.
And what was it?
So I called it the 5-second rule because I never intended to talk about it. It was a cheat to beat the alarm clock. Here's how it goes. The alarm rings in the morning. Most of us don't want to get out of bed, right? But we know we should. So I would go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The moment the alarm rang, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just like NASA, what they do, they count down to launch a rocket ship. And the counting backwards kind of shut my mind off. And then suddenly at 1, I would stand up. And I would use this every single morning to get out of bed. And 9 years later, I still use it every single morning to get out of bed. I think some behavior you can learn and automate. Other stuff that you don't like doing, you're going to always have to push yourself. That's just how it is. And I noticed 2 things as I started to use it. I noticed that window where I'd be lying in bed and I'd have the knowledge that I should get up, but in my body, I wouldn't feel it. And as I lied in bed, and you can try this tomorrow morning, set your alarm earlier than you normally do, and watch what happens. The alarm will go off and your mind knows that you said you would get up. Your mind has that wisdom. Your gut has that wisdom. It's holding on to it. And then it starts to kind of nudge you with a little guilt. And then what'll happen is all of a sudden you'll start talking yourself out of doing the thing you said you would do.
Yeah, it's too cold, or I'm too tired, or...
And it happens in less than 5 seconds. And so what I know is that those are 2 different parts of your brain going at once. And if you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you interrupt the habit of self-doubt and the habit of talking yourself out of it and shutting down the part of the brain that actually minimizes your power. And you awaken the part of the brain that is active in functional MRIs when you're trying to change. And so all you need to know to change anything is, A, you're never going to feel like it. You're never going to feel ready to start that business. You're never going to feel ready to have that hard conversation. You're never going to feel like getting out of bed. You're never going to feel like it's a good idea to apply for that promotion. We're designed to stay comfortable and safe. So if you know that you're A, never going to feel like it, and B, that no one's coming, it's up to you. You're not a kid anymore. I'm dead serious about this.
Yeah.
Like so many of you are waiting to be picked. By who? Are you making the most of your life? And the answer is yes, if you pay attention to what you do in 5-second windows. Are you the kind of person that when your instincts come alive and they want to nudge you to go talk to that cute gal across the way or raise your hand in a meeting and share that idea? Are you the kind of person that pushes yourself to step into that? Or do you pull back? That's the power of a 5-second decision, because you can't choose how you feel. You can't. Yeah, maybe you can go and become a Buddhist monk and meditate for 4 months and get full control of your physiology. And yeah, technically you can control how you feel, but you and I can't. We got a job. You got kids you got to raise. You can't, that's not possible. So you can do something else. You can actually disregard your feelings. You can become the kind of person that is so in tune with the values that you have and what you actually want, that when feelings rise up, you can choose to act however you want despite them. Even if you're tired, you can still go to the gym. Even if you're annoyed with your spouse, you can still speak in a manner that's loving. Even if you don't feel like doing that hard work, you can still push yourself to do it. Your feelings aren't a choice. Your behavior and your thoughts are always a choice.
Yeah, so is this probably in the category of emotional intelligence, yeah?
I think it's both emotional intelligence and it is the skill that nobody practices, which is self-monitoring. So the greatest capacity, I believe, in the next 10 years for people, particularly as technology accelerates, is do you have the ability to focus on what matters, and do you have control over your thoughts and actions? And so, emotional intelligence, yes. I tend to think about emotional intelligence more about reading other people and kind of understanding who you are and how you are. This, to me, all took it a step further. Because I was always a big EQ person in the Emotional Intelligence 2.0 book and loved that stuff, even when my life was in a train wreck. I had no idea how to apply it. And, that's the other thing, is that at the end of the day, what's missing for most of us is tools. So, a lot of people that mainline personal development content have been reading about making changes for 10 years, but they don't do it.
How did you get out of that train wreck, by the way?
The 5-second rule.
So, but you can't take those 5 seconds to the bank, right? So,
yes, you can.
So how'd you do it? Break it down.
What are you going to do? What would you do if you had a restaurant that was failing?
Probably figure out how to cut bait, or
Yes.
Sell the assets,
Yes.
or pivot, or flip it,
Yes.
or doing something
Yes,
else.
and all those things require you to have conversations. They require you to do research. They require you to walk into a bank. They require you to renegotiate things with your landlord. You have the answers up here. Do you have the courage and the tool to push yourself to do those things that are terrifying? That it's easier to tell yourself, oh, that's not going to work, so I might as well not even try it. You have no idea.
Yeah.
Yes. And so what happened is, once I started using it to get out of bed on time, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up, I started to notice, holy cow, all day long there are these 5-second windows where I know what I should be doing. Maybe I should use this stupid thing to take control of my head and push myself to do those things too. And so I went from sleeping in and hitting the snooze alarm 3 times, 4 times, 5 times a day, to getting up on time, getting to the gym, not having 4 Manhattans a night, speaking to Chris differently. Instead of complaining about the fact that I had lost this television show with Fox, actually picking up the phone and cold calling for auditions, something that I was terrified to do. And slowly but surely, because I was changing myself 5 seconds at a time, making decisions that scared me, making decisions that I was convinced weren't going to work. I was doing it anyway. I started to change. I became the kind of person that stopped thinking about stuff and complaining about stuff. And I became the kind of person that I always had wanted to be, the kind of person that makes things happen. I saw myself changing. And what happens is, you can follow anybody's step-by-step program. You can, and it might work. Most of them do. Every diet will work. The problem is we don't go internal first. You cannot change your life unless you go inside first. You figure out who you are, what your own wisdom is telling you to do, and you start to actually believe it and follow it. Because if you don't develop simply the ability to get up when you said you would, to eat what you said you would, to exercise because you said you would, to talk in a way to your kids that's patient because you said you would, you will never have the self-confidence to succeed in any environment. You won't.
Oh. Okay, it's back again. Now let's see if that's going to stop.
What's incredible is
No,
in 5
it's
seconds
not.
flat, self-doubt can take over and rob you of your power and rob you of joy and rob you of your potential. Or in 5 seconds flat, you can actually use one stupid little trick to push yourself to grab it. When you talk about personality, so extroverts, introverts, a lot of
And I'm back. I worked out how to do it. Obviously, multitasking isn't one of my skills. But how cool is that? So cool. Like, I just find her amazing. And it's so simple because it's so true. I can really resonate. And a lot of the time we know exactly what to do. I mean, how many how-to trainings do we do on Juice Plus, on templates, on scripts? You've got the scripts books there. You've got all the testimonials. You've got all of the DMO examples of people who have got successful. But we just tend to talk ourselves out of it. So I find it absolutely fascinating because a lot of us are kind of in that same spot. So I want you guys now, hopefully you've got a pen and a pad in front of you because you're beautiful and organized and ready to hit the ground running. I want you to write down 5 things that you've been putting off. Could be anything. It doesn't have to be anything to do with Juice Plus. It could be just life-wise. What are 5 things that you've been putting off, just recently? I'm going to write down mine too, so don't mind my concentration face. Has everybody got a few? Oh, that's so cool, Abby. It is. It's really amazing. And I mean, you guys, so her name's Mel Robbins. I'll put up in the team page when I put this this recording up, I'm going to put the link to that video that we watched up there. So if you'd like to re-watch it again, or if you've got maybe friends or relatives that you feel might be, beneficial by watching it, definitely forward it on through. But I want you to have a think at the moment of what has it been that you've been putting off. And why? Is there really a reason, or is it because you're pulling up that emergency handbrake? Her TED Talk's my favorite. Her TED Talk was the first one that I actually ever found of Mel Robbins, but it's a bit too long to put on tonight. So it's definitely one to go in and watch if you feel like that concept can help you a little bit. So has anybody got any things that they'd like to share? Who's feeling brave? Who would like to pop up some things that you have been putting off? I know for me, I need to call the Queensland of Transport. And sorry, is that how I say it? Whatever it is, Queensland Transport, the transport place. You know what I mean. And I honestly have been meaning to call these guys for 6 weeks. 6 weeks. That's how long it's been that I've been thinking, no, I don't want to do it today. I'll do it tomorrow. So I know that after watching this, tomorrow I'm going to get out of bed. I'm going to do my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and get my ass out of bed when I say it will. And I'm going to go and do it. It's going to be the first thing on my list, and I'm not going to let myself overthink it, but I'm going to try and take this method with me all day tomorrow. So I would love to see you guys do it as well. Absolutely loved the posts of everybody getting out of bed the wrong way last week. How did everybody go with that? Did you stay and do it all week? Did it last 1 or 2 mornings and then all of a sudden the habit came back? It was really cool to see. Stacey Cox, my absolute favourite video of all time, commando rolling over her kids to get out the opposite end of the bed. But it just goes to show that it's tiny little pieces like this that are just like little personal development puzzles that as you put them together, you think, I have so much control over my life. I really do. I have so much. I am the only master in control of my life. And one of the biggest things that hit me watching that was where she said, no one's coming to save you. That was just like, bam, how many days do we get up and do the same shit and just assume that one day something's going to happen that will change it? You know, we're going to meet the right person, or, you know, something is going to happen that explodes our business or puts our relationship back on track, or whatever it could be that we're putting off. It's so crazy. So yeah, it really got me thinking, you know, if we want these hopes and these goals, we need to be the ones turning up. And that's why I'm really going to build this Tuesday night big. I want to see a lot of commitment from you guys. I understand it's at a shitty time. You know, we've got people all over the world, and unfortunately this 6:30 p.m. Queensland time was best for everybody to try and get all time zones on. But I do want you to remember that we know it's something that's good for us. We know it's something that's going to grow our business. All those reasons, all those excuses, all those emergency handbrakes, they will come if we don't just make the commitment to jump on. And as we do, I feel like we can put puzzle piece on puzzle piece and really start to grow our brains, grow our capacity, grow our control over our life, and in turn our business, which is then going to create some really cool financial freedom for everybody. So basically, what have we got? I keep putting off speaking with my boss about extending my contract. Are you going to do it this week, Gail? Is it happening? Yeah, you committed to it? Going to bed at a reasonable time, Maxine. That's awesome. Definitely. I don't know if you can 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 yourself to sleep, though. That's the only trouble. I haven't tried that one yet. Clean my house, a story of my life. Fold my washing is one of the biggest things. Perfect. Putting off your affirmations. I love this one, Abby, because I've been putting off meditating, and I know that meditating creates so much more peace. It creates so much more motivation and inspiration in my life, and yet I put it off. So it's really cool. This kind of brought to attention so much stuff that I had been fluffing about. I've been creating all these fluffy habits that are really not beneficial for me. So I'm going to start getting my ass into gear, and hopefully you guys will as well. Hopefully Mel kicked some butts. That's actually another, I've got her kick-ass audio book, which I love, and I think she definitely is pretty kick-ass. Doing taxes. Oh, I think everybody puts that one off, don't they? Visualization in the morning. This is one I haven't been putting off. I've been doing really good at my visualization. I will own that. My gratitude practices in the morning and my visualization, because otherwise I have a hard time getting up for the day. I'm going to be really honest about that. So that's awesome. Cool. So now we're going to whip on over. I want you guys to do that challenge to be accepted in the morning, okay? It's the same thing. You don't have to get out of bed the opposite way. But tomorrow morning, I want you to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 yourself out of bed and put a post about it, okay? Inside Team Love. And if we can all do this without procrastinating, without letting those excuses, those handbrakes, all those different types of things, I don't care if you jump out of bed and then later in the day go back. Doesn't bother me. But I want you to do that first thing in the morning to start retraining your brain. Okay, is anybody up with me? You don't have to set your alarm for earlier, like she said, because I know pretty much you guys have a lot of commitments during the day. You can if you want, but I'm going to be doing that too, because I am so guilty of lying in my bed in the morning doing my work. You know, I pick up my phone pretty much after I do my visualization exercises, and I'm on my phone seeing who's asking what questions and doing what and what have I got to do for the day. And I find that I spend probably half an hour pretending to be busy on my phone, but not actually doing shit. So I think if I just did the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and got up, I could actually do more. I could get more done. And then I think I could actually tick more off my checklist. So let's start doing that one today. Tomorrow. What's my visualization exercises? Woo, this is a fun one. So my habits in the morning, as soon as I wake up, sometimes I don't even open my eyes, but as soon as I feel myself come to consciousness, is to think of 5 things that I'm internally grateful for. So I like to change it up. Don't like to use the same 5 things every day, but I like to feel them in my heart and feel how beautiful and shiny and happy and loved they make me feel. And then I push myself forward 5 years, and I think of what life's going to be like then. And I think of the exact same 5 things, but on a grander scale.
So, you know, if I'm thankful for my family, I see my family doing amazing things. I see us traveling. I see us, you know, cruising through places that I never thought we'd be able to go, sitting in our big house that we own, you know, all those kind of stuff. And I take my gratitudes and I expand them out, and I pretty much visualize them tenfold. So I feel like that kind of ticks both boxes. It ticks off your manifesting and your intention setting, but it also creates it out of gratitude, which is the highest vibe. So that's what I like to do. But honestly, it could be anything. As long as you just think, definitely not a farmer. That's Rob's one. He's determined to move me to the country and it's not going to happen. But I like to think of what it is that I want to create, because I do understand that, and I've always understood that. I love what Mel says there, is that, you know, nobody else is going to come and write us an amazing story. If we want to have an amazing story, we have to get off our asses and get it done. And I understand the power of manifesting. So that's one of the biggest things that I put time into. But surprisingly, I know that meditation quiets my mind. It puts me in a better space to be able to visualize and manifest. So I need to be doing that as well, but I'm just not. I'm choosing not to. I'm choosing to let all the other excuses fill my head. So definitely let's spend this week actually reflecting on what excuses we're using, why we're using them, why we're letting them dictate us, and just use that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the 5-second rule, just to try and get as much little shit done as possible. Because like she said, it's those tiny little decisions that end up shaping what your life looks like. So the more we procrastinate, the crappier that our existence is going to be. Now, I love this tool because someone once said to me that they couldn't do this business because they weren't fearless like me. And it blew my mind, because I remember thinking, man, I've got fear all the time. Like I'm not fearless. But when I was watching this today, I realized that it's that decision to either push back and procrastinate and let the fear take over, or to just, you know, the concept to feel the fear and do it anyway. That's basically the 5-second rule. Yeah, is just, okay, cool, well, we're doing it. Yeah, you got yourself on autopilot, just go. And I believe that that's what creates this term of fearlessness, is just the people that just get shit done consistently. And when you look at the people that have created NMD businesses and well and truly 6-figure businesses, they're the people that get shit done. So that kind of mentality is going to be super, super useful. Awesome. So let's shift gears a little bit now that we've got that, now that we've got our focus for this week. It's going to be breaking through some of our habits in this 5-second rule. And let's start to share a little bit about what it is that we do within Juice Plus and our teams as well. So you guys are going to hear me quite often talk about the Soul Project. Now, the Soul Project is basically because that's my mission. That's my mission as my NMD business. That's my mission. That's my brand. That's what I wanted to create. Now, so many of you obviously fall under that umbrella because your vibe attracts your tribe, and you guys are all loving that and using that. Now, we've got we've got Joe's team, who are the Travel Tribe. Now, you fall under that umbrella, go for it, you know. But what I want to explain is that when you hear me talk about the Soul Project, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to do the Soul Project. It just means that's my version of my Juice Plus business. Okay, can absolutely be yours as well, but let's just go through that as a little bit of a preface. So within the Soul Project business and program, which a lot of you fall underneath, we focus on the mind, body, and spirit. So what I'm going to do over this next week, I've asked quite a few people today to get them to me, is do up some testimonials. Now, these testimonials are around mind, body, and spirit, and using the products Juice Plus. Unfortunately, well, I guess it's fortunate and unfortunately, Juice Plus are really restrictive on allowing us to share testimonials. Now, they only do that because they want to uphold their integrity. They don't want people circulating images that are purely false, which happens. I've seen it. I actually had to stop one of my customers from sharing a picture that she got off Google. It was not a Juice Plus one, but she put it up saying her amazing results from Juice Plus. And I was like, that's not you. So I had to quickly go, no, you know. So people do this kind of shit. So Juice Plus just put a ban on it, and they say don't share testimonials unless it's your own or unless you're sharing it specifically from that person's profile. So hitting the share button. Unfortunately, with that share button that I've tried to explain to them numerous times, they don't seem to care. It has a lot of less traction when it comes to algorithms. So think about that, guys. If you ever see a post that you really like, you're better off copying and pasting it than clicking the share button, because you're going to get more people in your feed see a post that you have posted rather than you have shared. Does that make sense? Yeah, I know it seems a little bit technical, but that share button that you've got an option of, it really does limit the algorithm that Facebook will show. So with that being said, I was kind of like, well, what's the point of sharing testimonials if people aren't going to see them? So what we have decided to do is create a photo album inside Team Love, and I'm going to be working on it over the week. It's going to be testimonials, but it's from the perspective of the Soul Project, because I own the Soul Project, right? Obviously, the Soul Project uses Juice Plus, so we're going to be endorsing the products and things like that. But when we're talking about these testimonials, rather than it being, you know, Juice Plus has really helped my fibromyalgia, we're going to say the Soul Project and its program and products have helped my fibro. Now, we do that because technically then it's none of Juice Plus's business. They can take their hands off it and go, well, I don't know if it's Juice Plus or not. So if any legalities ever turn up, they're left out, which is all they want, okay? They just want to maintain their integrity. So I will be compiling that photo album this week, and what I want you guys to do is feel free to share them. Testimonial Tuesday, Testimonial Thursday, awesome ideas, because people love stories. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through, and I want to hear from a few people who wouldn't mind sharing their stories. Now, I know Maxine was one of the beautiful ladies who said she would share. So Max, do you want to go first? Are you talking about product?
Did you want me to share my product story or my biz story?
What would you prefer?
Biz story probably.
Business story? Okay, well, cool. Well, I might leave you a little bit till the end if we do product first. Who else was going to do product? Anybody? I remember Lynn was going to, but she ended up having to be called into dinner. Mark.
I'm happy to do whatever.
Okay, Tans, I'm going back to you, but I'm going to pick on Mark right now because Mark has an amazing product story and I haven't heard it for a little while. Mark, can you share for me? And I'll unmute you.
Well, if I don't want to.
Please, if I ask you you've only got to take 2 minutes because we've got a few that we want to get through. But I want to help people understand, especially if they're just coming into this business and product,
Yeah, it's all good.
how cool it is, because it really does some crazy stuff in people's bodies. So what better way to be able to share what we've all noticed? So Mark, if you can share yours, you're the best.
Okay. I need a bit more than 2 minutes, but I'll wrap it up as quick as I can.
Go for it.
So I found out the other day, actually, that it's a bit over 4 years ago that I was actually diagnosed as a diabetic. There's a story in finding that out as well, but I'll leave that out for time preference. But basically, once I found out I was diabetic, the doctor said you should be able to handle it if you look after your diet and look after yourself. So with that, she said, go home, use this little kit thing to check your blood and eat healthy. So I went home, had steak and veggies for dinner, checked my blood. It's supposed to be between 5 and 8. I think it was like 10 or 11 or something. It was way too high. So that's what started me on the journey of trying to find out what the hell is actual healthy eating. Through that, found out that plant-based diet is definitely a way better way to go. Through that, I discovered a post on Facebook that said, you know, we've got this cool product. It's basically fruit and veggies in a capsule and it's all vegan. And I was like, well, that's exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. So I got onto that. Before that, I had found how to start eating healthy. And the doctor was like, well, you're doing okay. You know, you don't really need tablets, but you can do better. I started taking the Juice Plus a few months, probably nearly 6 months, I guess, because used to have to do checkups every 3 months to see how I was going. Went in there with being on the Juice Plus as well as trying to look after what I eat. And the doctor basically stood up, shook my hand and said, if I didn't have these charts here to tell me you're diabetic, I wouldn't think you were. You're doing an amazing job. Don't come back and see me for a year. And that's the best part of what Juice Plus has done for me. Just with the diabetes, like it's helped with heaps of others. You know, when I normally get sick, it's only once or twice a year all my life because I've always been so busy working and you don't have time to get sick. But these days, if I do get sick, it's a day or two and that's it. Whereas before, it'd knock me for a week and I'd be down and out for a whole week without fail. Much to Amanda's disgrace, she hates it when I'm sick because you know what the man flu's like. It's worse than anything else you can imagine.
Yeah, poor Amanda. No, that's awesome. That's so cool. That's really cool because I actually I don't think I've heard that for so long, and I'm pretty certain that it might have been Danielle today that posted and asked it about a diabetes testimonial. So that's perfect. Really good timing. Thank you, Mark.
No worries.
I appreciate you just being put on the spot like that.
Oh, I'm used to it with you. Don't worry.
You never know when it's going to happen. Yeah. All right, Tans, where are you, darling? Do you want to take yourself off mute?
Sure thing.
Yay! All right, I'll spotlight you and you can share your story, girlfriend.
Hi, so my story started about 6 years ago when I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder called interstitial cystitis. I'd have chronic bladder pain every day, kind of like having a UTI on a daily basis. So when I was given a list by my doctor, let's talk about doctors tonight, I was given a list of foods and told, well, don't eat these and you'll be fine, you'll be able to manage it because it's pretty much chronic. You can have it for the rest of your life and it's only going to get worse, but you can manage it if you don't eat these. And most of the foods on it was fruits and veggies, so I was horrified. But decided then and there that I was going to heal this and not end up a statistic with a chronic illness. So I tried all sorts of supplements and therapies. I spent hundreds and nothing really changed for me. And then about 3 years later, I just ended up getting worse. And along with that, I also had arthritis in my knuckles and I had to give up massage years before because I thought that's what it was. But it made no difference. And that, again, was another thing that was just getting worse and worse. After about 3 years, I discovered that I actually had adrenal fatigue and leaky gut on top of the chronic pain. So I was exhausted every single day. I really struggled to get through my day. I had all sorts of viruses going on constantly. I had patches of dermatitis, my hair was falling out. I was just a walking zombie, and I just, after about, I realised, they told me that I was allergic to gluten. I stopped eating that and got a little bit better, but nothing really improved for me much. And so thankfully, Annie, who was also getting better on these amazing capsules, she saved my life really, because if it wasn't for her, I certainly wouldn't be better like I am today. So I just found that I progressively got better. After 4 days, I was in the business. That's how, 4 days on the product, I was in the business. That's how much change I had in just a short period of time. So I was blown away with how quickly things improved for me, and then just over time things have improved constantly, and so I am 95% better, feeling amazing. My energy is incredible, and I think the biggest part for me that has really improved is learning about my body and listening to my body and listening to the whispers. because that's something I never listened to before. I was not intuitive with my body at all. So this has really helped me with that too.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Kat.
My pleasure. I find it so funny because, like, obviously I know all your stories, but working with you guys, I see you as like such happy, able, like positive people, and I can't even imagine what life would have been like for you back then, being so fucking sick. Like, that sucks. But anyway, glad you found us. Definitely. All right, and my beautiful girl Jo, you share your product story, my love.
Hey. So I am a 2 times breast cancer survivor. I was diagnosed just after my 33rd birthday, which was obviously a massive shock to the system. I was really, really lucky in that I had a whole pile of friends and family around me who actually recommended or suggested that I, not only listen to the doctor, but also check out alternative things. So I actually did my cancer treatment as naturally as I possibly could. I did a high alkaline diet, and my tumour actually shrunk to less than half its size before I had surgery to have it removed. So I've been really, really passionate about fruits and veggies and having a high alkaline diet and trying to stay as healthy as possible. And then I came across these products. Couldn't believe, they sounded way too good to be true. At the time when I found them, I was working in family daycare. So I had 4 little boys under the age of 4. And even though I was eating really, really healthy and juicing, I still had no energy. In the afternoons, I had terrible brain fog, and I also used to have incredible migraines. They'd come on every 2 to 3 weeks, and they would be so terrible that I would throw up. The base of my skull felt like it was going to explode. I had been to the physio and the chiropractor and had x-rays and everything was fine. Nobody could tell me what was going on. So when I heard about these products, I was a big skeptic, and I did all of the research and I checked out all the links to the clinical studies and wanted to make sure that they were actually whole foods, that they were just the fruits, veg and berries. And I was blown away by what I found. So I said, okay, I'll give them a try. And within 2 weeks of trying them, they're amazing. So I instantly started sleeping better, like actually going to sleep, staying asleep, and waking up feeling like I'd had a good sleep. I also noticed my energy, especially in the afternoons, was fantastic. I was no longer wanting to have a nap when the kids were having a nap. I just felt amazing. And probably for me, it actually took probably about 2 or 3 months before I realised that my headaches weren't happening. They were getting less and less and less, and now I've been on the products for 3 years, and in 3 years I've only had 2 migraines that have caused me to throw up when I've gone from having them sometimes twice a month. It was just amazing. On top of that, the hair, the skin, the nails, everything, I just love it. So 3 years on these products, and I will never be without them.
Oh, I love hearing that. That's amazing, because so many people, I reckon, don't understand the power of fruits and veg. So I love that you were already aware of just how cool they were. But of course, so many of us are skeptical when we come in. You have to try it for yourself, or you have to make sure that it is what it says it is. So that's super cool. I love hearing from those. Mine's not as amazing as any of those, but sometimes I feel like people discredit their story because they don't think they have something insane. You don't have to be chronically ill to take the product, and that's what I really love. But for me, I guess at the time I didn't really even realize how much of a big deal it was, but I was going through a lot of situational changes, which happens to everybody, right? You tend to go through some shit stages in life. And at that time, I was separating from my ex-partner, and I had my 2 girls. He was very sick, so there was a lot of stress in our life. And I had realized that I was stopped sleeping, that I started waking up a lot with anxiety, that I started dreading the day, that I started feeling just really heavy, like a really yucky feeling. And I'd never felt anything like that before, because I had a really beautiful childhood, and I grew up with 2 amazing parents, and my mental health had never really been an issue. But I realized that I started to not be that person that I was. I was getting really depressed and
I'd never really understood what depression was. But it got to the stage where even just going to the supermarket or going out to do something little like that would make me feel anxious as hell, to the point where I would talk myself out of it and make a reason why I couldn't go and do it. And I just thought it was the situation that I was in, but I realized after talking to so many other people that that's actually anxiety. And it plagues a lot of people, that waking up, that not feeling like you're getting to sleep, like you're feeling like constantly something negative is talking to you or eating at you. And I remember going to the doctor and him literally just saying, oh, you know, you're probably suffering from a bit of depression. We've got some medication. And he basically just said, cool, here, take this. And I left there and I said, oh, you know what? No, I don't think it's that much of a big deal. I'm fine. You know, I'm just going through a few things. And I knew that I was at the stage where I probably had to go and see a therapist and talk it out. So I just kind of left and talked myself out of being sick. And it wasn't until I started talking to Lauren and she was talking to me about her anxiety and about the products that she was taking. And I honestly thought she was a lunatic. Like, I was like, what is this silly thing that you're always on Facebook taking a picture with? Like, and when she said to me, it's actually natural, I thought, well, if it's helped you with your anxiety and it's natural, give it to me before I take any shit from the doctors. And just like Joe, you know, and Tans, in the 4 days, literally within the first 2 days, I was sleeping. And sleeping was something that was not happening to me. And like Joe said, staying asleep, not just waking up, having a sleep cycle, waking up, having a sleep cycle. Like, I was actually going properly to sleep and waking up at like 7 o'clock in the morning. So that was the first thing for me. The second thing was actually having tolerance for my children. And I know that sounds so horrible, but I know there's other mums on here that will be feeling that. Because I was so agitated internally, I was agitated externally as well, and I would get annoyed at little things quick. I didn't have patience. Come the end of the afternoon, I was tired. I just wanted the house quiet. I just wanted life to be quiet, and it wasn't. So I felt like too that I wasn't the mum that I wanted to be, but I noticed that I started just being more patient. I started being happier. I started lasting the day without turning into a dragon. And it really did just make such a difference in my life that pretty much within 2 weeks, once I started adding shakes with the niacin in them, if you haven't researched that, have a look at it. The shakes have niacin in it, which is a natural antidepressant. It's just amazing, you know. And I even know now, like, I try not to, you know, talk out loud about this too much, but I know that if I don't take the shakes regularly, because I need them, my brain needs them, I need to have that niacin mineral because I know I'm deficient, I start to get shitty. And I start to lose that tolerance, and I start to not have the cool mindset that makes my life easier. So definitely, you know, if you've got friends and family that are anxious or depressed, it's something that I think you should really talk to them about, because it's definitely changed my point of view there. So swapping sides, obviously we've got the really cool product, the really cool program, and knowing that what we do actually helps people is an awesome way to earn an income. But let's actually talk about creating an income and what the business stories that we've seen have happened as well. So Max, do you want to tell yours, Dave?
Yeah, sure. My background is I am a registered nurse, and so I spent many years working in the medical profession, which was really hard work and not very gratifying personally, because it didn't really align with a lot of my beliefs about how to heal and how to care for people. So I went off and took a lot of time out of my career to raise my children. But during that time, I trained in some other natural therapies, Bowen therapy and anthroposophical nursing. And so when I started to return to earning an income, I set up my own practice, natural health practice. And that was good because it was obviously more aligned with my my ethics, my goals and beliefs around healing. But it was kind of interesting because more recently, I mean, I joined the business just over a year ago. What I was really finding was that my children had got to an age where they were leaving home, flying the nest. and I was really, I could see that I was really wanting to get some freedom and flexibility into my life, because I was entering a kind of a new phase of my life where I could kind of do more what I wanted. The natural therapy practice was, even though I was more aligned with my goals, it was still having to go off to a job pretty much every day, work an hour to get paid an hour. It wasn't going to get me anywhere closer to being able to travel, live overseas, be free to do what I wanted to do. So when I saw the opportunity, Tanya put the opportunity in front of me, I was really keen to look at it from that. I was really skeptical, but I was also really keen because I could see what it could give me in terms of my freedom. And on the other hand, it was also a really fantastic product because I was already so on board with the idea that nutrition was at the root of everything. Lots of my clients have fundamentally just had inflammation in their body and lots of really deep-seated illnesses that needed that healing on a deep level, which was what this product is able to do. So so that's my story. Ticked all the boxes.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It ticked all my boxes too. It definitely did. Thanks, Max. All right. Hey, Kel, do you want to share, my love? I know you put up the post that you wouldn't mind sharing today. I'd love to hear your story because I feel like you definitely got into this business for a big reason.
Yes. Okay. So I've probably only really been in the business for about a bit over 2 months. The main reason was just to get that extra income, have that extra, get that extra income stream for us. Like I only worked part-time, but I didn't feel like it was enough for me. And I wanted to be able to contribute more. So I've jumped on board and I'm loving everything about this, and I can see so much potential within myself. I watch so much YouTube. I'm trying to learn as much as I possibly can about the business, about how I can move forward, how I can become NMD. Like, I have goals and I want to reach them, and I know that I can do that here. Like, I know that it's possible, and I believe in myself and I believe in this company. So, I'm super excited about it all. Like, I can't wait. I can't wait to just get where I want to be.
I'm so excited for you too, just listening to you. I can't wait till you're there as well.
Thank you.
No, that's awesome, darling. I'm so glad you're enjoying it so far, because that it's just the start of something seriously epic. It really is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Thank you, darling. Hey, Joe, can I get you to share your business story too? Because, I mean, you're 3 years in. You've got a hell of a business story.
Oh, I feel like it's so old news.
It's not old news. Trust me. Tell us, what have you been able to achieve by saying yes to this crazy opportunity?
Okay. Is there anybody on here who hasn't heard my story?
Yeah.
Oh, damn it.
You've got to do it now.
All right. The official story.
Yeah.
So, as I mentioned before in my product story, 3 years ago, I was working in family daycare, and I had been through a really big health crisis, and I had also been through the world's crappiest divorce. So I was on my own, and it was interesting. Anyway, as often happens, along came a guy and turned my world upside down, and we started traveling. We had the world's dodgiest camper. Like, it was smelly and old and moldy and yuck, but we had the best time in it. We would go away and we just had the best time. So we ended up upgrading to a little caravan, and Anyway, one day we were talking to some people in the caravan park, and they were telling us about how they just sold up, were traveling Australia, and were having the best life ever. They said they had absolutely zero regrets. They had some health challenges, and basically they kind of said, you know what, none of us know how long we're here for. What are we waiting for? And it really sort of struck a chord with me. So we went home and, you know, we're thinking, how on earth could we ever afford financially to just like travel around Australia without an end date? How could we ever do that? And then some smarty pants named Katrina Stark put up a post in a family daycare group talking about how she was selling off all of her family daycare resources because she had found an online job that was making her a better income, and she could now spend all day every day with her girls working from wherever she wanted. So I sent her a message along with about 50 other women asking, what are you doing that has enabled you to close down your family daycare? And that's pretty much how I got introduced to the products. I did all of my research. I met Lauren and Katrina on a Zoom call where Lauren was in her car and Kat, I think, had kids climbing all over her. So I could tell that you could definitely do this from anywhere, doing anything. Also, just for you guys, the video she sent me, Katrina assumed I had children because I was working in family daycare. So she sent me this event about mums who were going through this and this and this and this and this. And there was probably about 6 mums. The video went for like 50 minutes and there was like 6 mums telling their stories. I didn't resonate with a single one of them. I didn't know what they were talking about, but the information about the products made sense. So, and how oftentimes we're like, oh, which video should I send? It honestly doesn't matter. As long as the information is in there about the products, you cannot send the wrong video to the right person, just as a side point. And then, yeah, so jumped in, started doing this crazy business. Al and I happened to have a holiday to Bali booked about a month later, and Katrina was in Bali. So Kat and I actually met in person for the first time in Bali by the pool. It was very cool. Al loved it because I also hit SDVF while I was sitting by that pool. I'm like, I just got a bonus. Al's like, sweet. Swimming around in the pool with his beer. Like, this is good. And then, of course, conference came up about 2 weeks later in Melbourne. I lived in Queensland. So it cost over $2,000 for Al and I to go fly down to Melbourne, stay, go to conference. I was too scared to go to the after party. I didn't even go. But yeah, it was a pretty big thing to spend $2,000 on a business that I'd only been in for 6 weeks, and best decision of my life. That's where Katrina came up with Team Love. We were sitting next to each other and she goes, what's yours going to be called? And it just hit me like Travel Tribe. That's what I want to do. I want to help people who want to travel. And yeah, what I saw at that conference was just mind blowing. Sorry, I've totally gone off track and now I'm talking about conference because I'm really geared up for it.
Keep going.
When you go to conference, like those NMD speeches that you're going to see, I wrote down those people's names and I wrote down some notes, and then I got on Facebook and sent them friend requests and I stalked those people. I'm like, they were so normal. I could see those women up there, you know, they weren't models. They weren't perfect. They did not have fabulous lives. Some of them have had health challenges and they still were walking that stage as an NMD, able to earn amazing income from absolutely anywhere from their phones. And I'm just like, I want that. I'm doing that. That's what I'm doing. And so we did. So I just do what Katrina tells you to do. Like, that's all I did. Seriously, rock up to every single training. I never miss a training. Rock up to them all and do what Katrina tells you to do, and you'll get to NMD. That's it.
Absolutely. And not only get to NMD, you'll get to sell your house, buy the world's best caravan, travel around Australia with...
Oh yeah, forgot that bit.
Just all of the fun stuff that came after NMD. But no, I absolutely love your story, Jo. And it's so good because it's so true. Like everything that you said there, even going into the conference part, conference is so important. Tomorrow I'm doing a live on conference because it really just is. Like, I get that it's a pain. I get there's other things you can do, but there's a reason why so many of us who have made it to NMD keep saying, just buy your fucking tickets. Get there, please. Because it is so, so important in your journey to reach the top. And, you know, it's funny because NMD is like this big title, right? You want the NMD because it's the choices that come with NMD that are pretty
freaking amazing. So, you know, Jo got to do what she wanted. She got to close up her family daycare. She got to be that person that was selling the resources, and she got to travel around Australia with her hubby. And you know, now she's bought a beautiful place down in Tasmania where she never would have ended up. It would have been still up somewhere in crazy northern Queensland doing family daycare and looking after 4 boys every day. Jesus, rock star woman. But you know, like this is what it does. So it's really cool. You guys have heard my story thousands of times, so I'm not going to go into it, but it does just really go to show that what we do and who we share this with is so damn important. You know, I love that Jo mentioned in there, the video I sent, no relevance whatsoever because she's clearly not a mum. But it was really cool because that's all she got out of it, what the bigger picture was. She was hungry, and they're the people that you want. So the 5-second rule, don't talk yourself out of sending a video. Don't give yourself a reason to have to go and, you know, rewatch all ones to find the perfect one. Just freaking do it. Just send something and move on to the next person, because you never know whose life you can change. And Jo is one of my classic examples of why I need to get up every day and keep doing this business. Just like hers is probably Denise. You know, seeing somebody else who you have spoken to, who you've done those calls with, who you sat celebrating their SDVF promotion, reach the top and live that life that they want, that's way better than you doing it yourself. It so is. And the beauty of it is that you can do that to as many people as you want, and that becomes your career. So what we do is super cool. Don't look at it as roping people in or trying to recruit people. You're out there to change lives, guys. You absolutely are. So thank you so much for your time tonight. Thank you for everybody that shared. We're going to have some more stories next week. So if we missed you this week, I'll definitely get to you next week. But thank you so much to those of you who shared. Let's get doing our Mel Robbins during the week, kicking some ass and making sure that we're not procrastinating too much. Sound like a plan? Bye, guys. Thank you all so much. I'll talk to you very soon. Bye. Thanks for joining us.